Is this thing on?
Oh,
Is this thing on?
oh, hello there. What's going on, everybody? Happy week 6 of the CBK podcast. 7 joined again by Niner. We were joking. You had mentioned before the pod. Vibes are good right now. I don't know why, but I like the feel. Did we find out why?
Yeah, I had mentioned, I was like, man, I feel like we're really going to this episode in like a really good vibes. And then Seven,
Awesome.
you eloquently mentioned the Padres are moving on in the playoffs. Arizona looks to be a real football team again, and then Cole's vibing because CU looks to be pretty good too. So vibes are high for the CBK podcast. Vibes are very high.
It's been a good week. How's your week been besides the sports calendar?
Sports calendar has made my week great. Work's been pretty solid. No complaints there. The only L I took this week was about an hour ago at my men's league basketball game. It was my first time touching. Well, it was my first time touching basketball since I had kids 5 months ago. So probably 5.5, 6 months around there.
Yep.
Oh yeah. I told the other team, I was like, guys, I just had a kid. This is tough. Like,
Oh
it
my
was
God, I can see
rough.
you doing that.
Yeah, it was rough. The lungs still burn, like legitimately are still burning. I actually jotted down my stats. Anybody want to hear them?
If I say no, are you going to share them anyway?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay. Then yeah, just do whatever you want, Tyler.
So it's my show, right? So they don't keep stats, so I had it all mental. I had about 10 points, probably like 2 rebounds, 3 assists.
How many shots did you take to get those 10 points?
I was gonna get there, but I'm glad you asked. Probably 12. I airballed two threes. And I asked for a sub 4 times. And then I was doing the thing, Jay, you know all about this, where you're like out of shape, basketball shape. So instead of closing, no, we've all been there. You're a hooper.
Yeah, sure. Go ahead. Yeah.
The thing, you like that? I did the thing where instead of trying to close out and block a 3-point shooter, you just yell.
Yeah.
I did that 3 times. And one of the guys did not like that. He did not like it. And then I asked him if I was in his head, and we were down 30, and he didn't like it either. So created an enemy. The refs were horrible, but the game wasn't close enough to really complain about that. But
yeah,
it was not my best performance. It was brutal.
I think we could do a whole segment on just like pickup basketball and like teaching people about pickup basketball. Mm-hmm. But you taking 12 shots, scoring 10 points, on paper, not great. What's your role? What's your role on this squad, though? Like, are you a top? You're needed commodity on the scoring end, or were you taking shots from other guys?
No, I'm a needed commodity.
Okay.
Which I would usually say, like, I can hoop a little bit. I would usually say in normal times is okay, given my current fitness and cardio level. That was not. You did not want to have to rely on me. So
yeah,
but it was our first time playing as a new crew that we're getting out there. We're playing in the top league in Highlands Ranch, Colorado. Surprising, pretty good ball in this league. And we got absolutely boat raced. So it's awesome.
Let me guess, it's a bunch of like finance dudes who are now dads. You got some tech sales / like analyst type roles, dads, but they low-key crush. And then you have like a couple little guys out there that are like clearly out there for the cardio, like bigger little guys.
Yep. And then there's the like the one guy in every team that they pulled in from like, hey, like what we did, like Elijah, hey, you played with Josh Allen at Wyoming 5 years ago. Do you mind playing on our team? Mm-hmm. And we rely on him for scoring, defense, and rebounding. So pretty much our whole team. So
I love that pickup balls.
You nailed it.
Same everywhere for the most part.
It's the same everywhere, dude. It's the same everywhere. I played in the Lifetime League. Anyone listening ever thought about playing the Lifetime League? Definitely check it out if you can do it. It's elite. They put on like an amazing production. like literally like referees. They keep your stats posted online. They have a social media. It's crazy. They interview players after a win. Like it's nuts. But that league attracts like all the Elijah types I just talked about. So you're like, I am like, hey, I don't kind of belong here. I know my role, play some defense and shoot some threes in the corner.
That's big. That kills a pickup game. Know your role. If you're trash, do something you're good at.
Yeah.
You know?
So anyway, that was my week. How was your week, Seven?
Yeah. It started off Sunday with having to travel to Denver for work. Showed up to set up a booth at a conference. I was told to get there at 12. Kind of pushed back on that at the time, saying, hey, the stuff starts at 5. Why do I have to be there at 12? And they're like, no, you got to be here at 12. So show up at 12. Stuff's not even there for our booth. And luckily I had a room ready. But yeah, I sat there from, took a nap, got some lunch, didn't set the booth up at 4, just kind of a wasted day. But then I got to go see you in the squad. That was sick. That was a good week. And then just grinded away.
I forgot it. I forgot about that already, so I didn't mention it.
Oh, yeah. I mean, you didn't mention it, so I figured it was like a non-event for you.
Kind of, yeah.
Yeah. Well, it's good to be here. Good to see you. Saw you yesterday. It was cool.
Yeah, it was fun hanging out. All jokes aside, Mom, I know you're listening. Well, I don't even know if she's listening. We're doing this podcast mostly for her, and I don't even know if she's listening. So
we got a picture on Saturday or Sunday of she came over Saturday here, and she said she's been looking everywhere for the new Kelsey cereal. Did you hear about this new cereal?
I did. Yeah.
Did Mom tell you what she couldn't find it at stores, and so she ordered on Amazon? And
that's about right.
Yeah. So I guess our next step is we created a podcast for her love. Now we got to create a cereal. So we're already in the works actually, because that's how much she means to us. No matter how far she tries to run away, we're gonna get her. And that just
honestly, knowing that she's not going to listen, we could probably plan on trying to get a cereal of us for Christmas present.
That'd be good. Point. Yeah. She'll have no idea. It'll be complete
surprise. She'll have no idea.
Yeah. Totally. All right, cool. Yeah, we'll just keep telling different presents. We'll just keep sharing them here because we know she's not going to.
That's right.
Hear them. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Should we just shout out the pods? I know you already mentioned it, but
shout out the pods.
Feels good. Tyler and I were talking before. Nine and I were talking before. Feels good, but the work's just getting started, right? This is a business owner's mindset that we have here.
That's right. It's a Kobe mindset. Job finished? No.
Yeah.
So, it really, and I know we're a football podcast, but it's ball millers, right? We know ball around all ball. The city of San Diego hasn't had a pro championship in their entire history. People might say you only have the Padres. We used to have the Chargers. We also used to have the Clippers. Fun fact. We have not had a pro title. We deserve something good. We're rocking gear here. I'm gonna bring Cole on as well. He's in his Padre gear as well. We're all vibing high right now on the Padres advancing. Now we get to go play that team in the city up north, which fires me up to a different level. Like it really does. Like it's hard for me to think about that team, how much I hate them. And that 2 years ago when we beat them in the division series was magical. I
do it again.
Want to do it again. Cole, what are your thoughts on the pods?
Oh,
yeah, what are your
dude? We ought to have my brother on at some point because that dude knows baseball, and it's fun to watch baseball with him because I don't know that much, and so hear him talk about it, I'm like, so we're really good, man. Like
the whole roster's stacked, the bullpen stacked. But Dodgers
worried about Suarez. He closed it, but still didn't seem like he could really find a spot tonight. But a win's a win. So
we'll take it.
But we'll take it.
I didn't even look at the schedule, but I did walk in right before recording this to the room my wife was in her house, and I said, "Hey, what do you think about me flying to LA for one of the playoff games?" And her response was, "What?" And I took that as a sign of she heard me, but it was so don't ask again. So I just said, never mind. And I walked away. Like it was a choose your battle moment. I felt like I grew, honestly, in the last hour. I feel good about like my personal development as a husband because she heard me and she gave me a second chance. And you're not always given second chances.
She knew what those words meant that came out of your mouth. She just wanted you to reconsider, and you picked up on the context clues, which is good.
Felt good about it. Yeah.
Well, that was talking baseball. So Cole, thank you for your thoughts.
Go Pods. Go Pods.
Oh. You ready to dive into some American foosball?
I would love nothing more, Niner. Would love nothing more. It was a hell of a weekend. I'm obviously pretty fired up about the Arizona Wildcats. I mean, we'll get to it. I'm going to eat crow just right off the bat. I was wrong about I don't think we were wrong about what we said needed to change for them to be successful. In fact, I think we hit that spot on. We were a little negative, and I think the Arizona community, I think you said it this weekend, you're like, I think Brent goes on Twitter. Like, because a lot of the things that the fans were saying, they fixed and they addressed. Yeah. But I think what we thought it was going to be the same. We were comparing it to Sumlin, and the whole thing with Sumlin is he never made any changes. It was the same thing every week. And that was kind of what it looked like in the first 3 games. And we were just like, he won't change.
And I think what we failed, we both hand up were wrong. Yeah. We're wrong in some parts. I do agree. We were right in our analysis that something needed to change. The difference that we didn't talk about and that we didn't give Brent enough credit for is he obviously cares. Someone didn't. And Brent cares, and he cares enough to have tough conversations with his friends. And this might be a good time to gloat for everybody who is followers on our social media. Go follow us, CBK Pod.
Or listen last week.
Or listen 2 weeks ago. 2 weeks ago, I said it.
2 weeks ago.
7, we were talking about what do we need to change. And I said, and you said it too, something on the offense needed to change. I said specifically, Matt Atkins, our tight end coach, should be the play caller. And what comes out after the game? It was told to us that Matt Atkins was calling plays that game. Not to say I'm a prophet of sorts, but I think I know
the
ball.
Title. Yeah, that's a CBK moment. CBK moment for sure. It was so obvious. They didn't announce that. And by the way, Arizona goes on the road and beats number 10 Utah. They haven't lost at home in what, 33? Yeah, so 30-something games. We were 11-point dogs to start out, or 9.5 to start, and then I think it went all the way down to 11. And
when Cam Rising was officially out, it kept dropping a little bit. Yeah. I think this is a good time to bring up our No Fefe segment. It came out during the game. Kind of people were tweeting about it that the team was wearing No Fefe shirts, which is Samoan for no fear. And our quarterback coach, I'm not even going to try to say his name. Shout out to him. His mom passed away. But the story was that she was the team mom when he was the quarterback at Oregon State, and that she used to always say no Fefe. And
on the
bus, she would get on the bus and she would tell it to the team. So the team kind of rallied around that. I think it just shows a lot about the culture and the family atmosphere. We heard about it all offseason. I think we even talked down on it a little bit just in terms of kind of at the first couple of weeks, it didn't really seem that like that culture was there. Guys were playing for themselves. It was completely back. So no Fefe seemed to bring the guys together. And man, that team looked like they did last year. The defense did, playing downhill, no fear. Our safeties are making plays. Our defensive line looked active. They made some changes there as well from a kind of, play time perspective, snap count perspective, and some of the other things to get some more guys on the field from the D line. Man. And then the offense, we touched on it with Coach Atkins calling plays, but it looked dynamic. To your point about Brent being on Twitter, people wanted to see using tight end. By the way, I think we have an NFL tight end.
Yeah.
I think we have an NFL tight end. T-Mac is still T-Mac. And Noah Fafita showed he's still Noah Fafita and balled out. So just a dominating win on the road in Rice Eccles, which is like one of the hardest places to play in the entire country. It was amazing.
Yeah, I might have mentioned this on the podcast before, but I'll mention it again. Always go back to we've already addressed that we were on bad football teams in our careers, whether it's the high school, college level, whatever. Like we've been around bad football teams. And one of the biggest traits I feel like always exists with a bad team is like not playing freely. Like you can tell when teams are thinking too much on both sides of the ball, and that's what it looked like in the third, first three games. Was like the defense was a step slow, the offense was kind of a step slow, and they simplified something. I think on offense they simplified that there was a little bit more belief in the play calls. We also find a starting five on the O line, which is huge.
Huge.
We
Shout out
weren't
Deuce.
we weren't as predictable on offense, obviously, which was huge because we were very predictable with Babers. Like, we're gonna run on first down, 2nd and 8, we're gonna throw, right? Like that. There was no creativity, so that was exciting to see. And then on the defense, we said, hey, we got a top 3 corner in the league. In the country. Let's let him do his thing. And then we said, hey, we got a pretty athletic redshirt freshman on the other side that's also 6'3". Let's just let them man up. And we're going to blitz. We're going to blitz 8 out of 10 times. And they did. Yep. Found ways to get pressure. We didn't rotate as much on the D-line, which I thought was good. It was just fun. It simplified downhill ball that was some creativity, different looks, no predictable. And that changed everything. We went on the road and beat a Utah team that everyone was saying was going to run the table in the Big 12. And, we have our Big 12, first Big 12 win before they do, which we'll always have.
Yeah. Pretty electric. Yeah. Drink to that.
No Fefe,
though. I'm just proud of the team. I'm proud of the staff. They made the changes they needed to. They played without fear. They played for each other. And it was just amazing. And then shout out to the creative staff at Arizona. I don't know if you watched the 11-minute sights and sounds of Arizona that they posted after on Twitter. If you haven't, go watch it, but just chills the whole time. Like, locker room clips, slow-mo catches and just unreal cinematography. Like, loved it. Watched it twice. Yeah. I've rewatched the game 4 times now, which is just, it's just electric. And I believe again.
3.
That's the thing.
Yeah.
You're at 3. I believe again 7. Like, I think this team can actually win the Big 12. I believe again.
We did not believe we have a lot of scars with Arizona. We did not believe that there was an ability to adjust from key levels. Like making an OC change in week 3, it takes some balls. And I think that I mentioned this, I was like, why is it at Arizona we just hold on when we know something doesn't work? Right? About Sean Miller, about Sumlin. Like we should have fired Sumlin when he was late to practice and everyone in Tucson knew that he was at the bars more than he was at the facilities. Why are we waiting? Right. And something to that is we have new leadership in, which I think is good, not only at the AD level, but also a new president now. He started Monday or maybe
I think he got in. I think maybe today was his ceremony or something.
It's exciting. I believe again, new leadership changes, like I said, I think make some sort of difference, but let's just keep this train moving. We're in the heart. We're hitting the Big 12 now, but
that's right. Here's my question and I know we're going to talk about the next week, but what do you feel about how do you feel about going in a new conference where there's not a lot of familiarity, like a Texas Tech? Okay, the last time we played them was 5 years ago. Houston was a couple years ago. West Virginia, God knows when the last time we played them, right? Do you think that's a concern or do you think it's an advantage?
I don't think it's a concern. I think everyone's dealing with it, right? So I think it kind of is a mute point because it's on both sides. We also played Texas Tech within the last 5 years, I feel like, didn't we?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So not that there's a much player overlap, but it doesn't feel weird. Texas Tech doesn't feel weird. Playing UCF is going to feel weird.
That's a weird one. Yeah. West Virginia and UCF are the ones that stick out that are these don't make a whole lot of sense. Houston isn't weird because we played them recently.
Yeah.
And BYU doesn't feel weird. We played them a bowl game in the last decade. There is some commonality to your point, but it's some of them just feel odd. So we'll see.
Yeah, I at this conference I met this guy. I know him. He's in his 70s. He played O-line at New Mexico back, and he was telling me back in the WAC when it was Arizona, BYU, Texas Tech.
Oh yeah, way back.
And do you want to hear his joke that I heard like 4 times going around this conference to different pods?
Let's hear it.
That's so good. Have you heard about the guy who went to the dentist, swollen cheek, needed to get his tooth pulled out? Did you hear about this guy?
I haven't heard about him. No.
They tried giving him Novocaine. He goes, no, I'm allergic. I go, okay, we'll just give you some gas. He goes, nah, last time I had gas, it kind of messed me up. I can't do that. They're like, okay, we're going to give you painkillers. And he's like, no, that'll take too long for him to like hit. The dentist is like, all right, dude, like, what do you want me to do? He's like, all right, I'll be right back. Closes the door, comes back in with a blue pill and a glass of water and says, take this. He goes, what is it? He goes, Viagra. And he goes, will this help with the pain? He goes, nope, but it'll help you. It'll give you something to hold on to while I pull this tooth out.
Please tell me he was at like a table with other advisors, like
no,
a lot of people.
He was like whispering it in like small groups of like guys like me that he knew would appreciate.
But he said it like how many times did you hear that joke throughout the night?
Three times.
Yeah,
3 times.
Yeah. Sounds like that guy just like remembered that joke and was like, "Oh yeah, this one's funny. I'm just gonna ride with this all day."
Yeah, it was awesome. Every time I could see him walking up, I knew he was gonna do it, and I was just as excited because it was funny. It was funny.
That's incredible.
Staying on college football. Any last thoughts on U of A or kind of the slate?
No, let's recap the weekend. Tell me what you liked of week. What was that? Week 5 recap.
Yeah, I mean, the Arizona game was obviously a clear number 1. CU going on the road, 14-point dogs, and then we just forgot that 75% of their team is from the state of Florida.
I know. I was thinking the same thing. Yeah.
They're like, okay, cool. They look good though, man. They're fun. They can make some noise. I'm pretty excited about that October 19th game in Tucson if everything goes according to plan. And we got some boys coming into town.
Oh, we'll be at the game. We'll get some some footage and post it on the socials. I think that like Colorado reminds me a little bit of Arizona, where it's like you kind of have the talent. Like I know it's a bunch of transfer portal, whatever, but it's like you got to just get the coaching in place. And maybe Pat Schumer's kind of waking up a little bit. I can't remember their young DC, but he had a nice game plan against KJ Jefferson. So that was a good one. Number 1 was Arizona beating Utah, of course. A close second for me was UW losing to Rutgers on the road. It was just such a great, like, it's what we've all talked about of like why it's funny that they're going to the Big Ten. They're going to have to go play in New Jersey. They scheduled it on a Friday night. It was just incredible. But it was incredible for many reasons as Arizona fans. But the whole Friday night slate was really fun. To have that Virginia Tech Miami game came down to the wire with maybe a questionable call. And then you had the UW game afterwards. It was just a lot of fun to have that on Friday.
Bro, definitely maybe a questionable call.
I wanted to get your reaction real time. What do you think?
Bro, I mean, there's been a lot of people have been getting tagged conspiracy theorists for a long time, especially over the last few years. And no one talks about when you're right about the conspiracy theories associated with things. But the joke used to always be like SEC, Big Ten, they're smarter at the like AD level because they like know how to make
commissioner level,
like how to make sure that their good teams don't lose to Oregon State on the road, like Oregon is or whatever a game away. Like the ACC made a very clear point that they knew Miami's their only horse in town. Like it is. Florida State's not what you thought. 100%. Clemson, I mean, played a below average Stanford team.
Clemson bothers me.
It's pretty stock. Like they don't do anything crazy. It's kind of like the Bengals offense.
Well, in what you make a good point about like kind of at the commissioner level protecting their ponies, right? Like they protect their ponies. Greg Sankey's been doing it with Alabama all the time. Greg Sankey does it with his entire conference too in the SEC, where they schedule that cupcake game in like week 11.
Tell the people what happened in the Miami game too.
For those that didn't watch the Miami game, Virginia Tech was controlling that game. Miami came back with vengeance, took the lead late. Virginia Tech got the ball around a minute, 2 minutes left, drove down the field to about the 40, 50-yard line, threw a Hail Mary as time was expiring. The Virginia Tech player caught it. As he's going to the ground, his feet are in bounds. He gets to the ground, and a Miami player rips it out of his hand when he's on the ground, and they call no catch. But they initially called it a catch.
On the field.
And then they reviewed it, and they said it stands.
Yeah.
And then they reviewed it again and flipped it.
Yeah.
It was
like, if you don't think the ACC commissioner called and said, review that play and give Miami the win, you're high. Like,
I agreed.
When have you ever, if you're a CBK and listening to this podcast, you can't review the same thing twice. Once it's ruled, it's ruled. At the end of the game, you make a game changing. At the end, after on the field called a touchdown, then reviewed it, said touchdown. And then the ESPN starts showing live video of the ACC home office in Charlotte. Like, wow, no, the home office called in. It's like, who do you think called in? Like, you can't do that, whether you think it was a catch or not. So
agreed. Here's where I'm torn on it, though, because I like that they're protecting their number one pony, because I don't like how they did it, but I like that they – I don't like how they did it. I like that they did it. And the reason is, you mentioned it with like Oregon going and play Oregon State. I know that's maybe that's not a good example.
Washington State
the example I always remember is a undefeated USC team ranked like in the top 10 with Sam Darnold at quarterback, had to go play Washington State in November on a Friday, and it snowed. And they lost out on any hope going to the playoff. And that was such a Larry Scott thing. Like, you're telling me Greg Sankey would ever let Alabama or Georgia go play on a Friday night in a long travel in conference to a team that's – I mean, playing at Washington State's always hard. It was like – anyway, that's a Larry Scottism that we could dive into for hours, I'm sure. But, like, he just didn't know how to protect his best teams. Like, in basketball, you protect UCLA and Arizona. In football, you protect USC, Oregon, maybe those two.
They're your
breadwinners. They're your breadwinners, and that's a factor why the
pot
Pac-12,
of gold is bigger at the end of the rainbow. Let your leprechauns get there safe and sound.
Yeah, and we are middle tier fans from historically Pac-12, right? Like Arizona, we know not the top, but you have to protect if you wanted to protect that conference and get that conference to last. You had to protect those teams. USC didn't feel protected or valued, I'll say, and they left. And so.
Well, but it was glorious to see Washington. I mean, we said it on the podcast, like, hey, we'd love to have Jed, and I still would probably take him because he found something magical in Arizona with this group.
It worked.
And I just would love to know your thoughts, because I think he's regretting every second of it. Like,
I think he is.
Like, you have to, right? Like, if you care about winning, you have to. Like,
if you care about winning, you have to. We've talked about it maybe on the pod or off the pod, but the pay jump was substantial. However, when you actually look at it, he was going to get a pay raise at Arizona. He just wasn't patient. And also, the cost of living in Tucson versus Seattle, Washington is quite drastic. Like, if you look at it from a pure economics perspective, he didn't make this huge jump.
It's like 43%.
And we're not even saying that he should have stayed so much longer than he did. He should have stayed one more year. The Florida job's going to open up. Guess who's not getting the Florida job anymore? He isn't. Yeah. So he's stuck in Seattle in a Big Ten that is now that's set up not for those West Coast teams to succeed. It's just like, I think he played the wrong move in his chessboard. He thought it was the right move, and I think he is regretting it. I totally agree with you.
And he went in late. And so he didn't get the roster probably would have normally got, because he had to get settled in late because Alabama had to wait to hire after the national championship. No one in Tucson, U of A, Wildcat fandom would have judged him, or we might have been a little like, that sucks if he went to Florida after another successful back-to-back year with this group. And guess what? If he takes Noah with him for 1 year to start, I think everyone understands. Like,
yep.
But the Washington move didn't make sense for so many reasons. monetarily, economically, conference. You're now like fighting for the 4th spot. If the Big Ten gets 4 spots, which they shouldn't, but they might because they're better at the commissioner level, historically speaking. But you know what I mean. But like he had a chance to stay here and be like 1 or 2. Like it just doesn't make sense. But so I think he is regretting it. I also think that he is so money driven and ego driven that I don't think he regrets it because he's getting $1.5 million more or $2.5 million more.
Sure.
Yeah.
That $2.5 million is flawed though, because he was going to get $1.5 million more.
Well, the numbers
Arizona.
they quote is that he's getting 7.5 at Washington, right?
He was going to get 6 though.
Oh, I heard
Arizona.
5.
Okay. So 5 or 6. I mean, those are big. There's a lot of zeros. Like I don't really blame him, but if you look at it, it wasn't as big of a jump in terms of what he's making. There was a bigger salary pool for his coaches, sure, whatever.
Florida
but like,
would have given you 9
if you waited 1 year.
Their NIL and like facility stuff. I don't know if you heard Saban talking about on game day. That was fascinating. Yeah, he was saying that they should have remodeled their facilities are the lowest or bottom tier of the SEC. They have, and I have a buddy, shout out JD, who went to Florida and was saying their NIL is a disaster. They have like 3 different groups trying to raise money. There's no connectivity. And Saban was talking about that, but their facilities apparently are like garbage, which surprised everyone. There was another guy I was listening to who's like, yeah, I guess I just would expect Florida to have the nicest shit. And I'm like, same. Yeah. So maybe it's not.
We're not an SEC podcast, but we'll stay out there for a quick sec because the game of the weekend from a national perspective, Georgia, Alabama.
Yeah.
Pretty awesome game. Did not expect that second half out of Georgia. I thought they were dead. I thought they were going to be my Larry Scott team of the week. But they showed some life.
I had a bet on Bama -2, and I was like, this is the easiest bet ever. As it started in the 4th quarter, I cashed out. I was a puss. I left some cash on the table, got 90% of the winning, so I felt good about it. That would have been a roller coaster of emotion I didn't want to deal with. I was pretty happy with it because, dude, they were down. They lost the lead with 2 minutes left.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I mean, that Williams kid is insane. But the craziest part, the corners for Bama.
The corners for Bama. We're a West Coast bias podcast. Alabama, 2 stud corners are both from Southern California. The West Coast needs to find a way to keep those kids home. Like, I get the allure of the SEC, blah, 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 blah. But, man, those kids need to stay home because they're dynamic. They're great. The one, I can't remember his name, but he won him the game with that pick. They're really good.
Freshman,
and those
redshirt freshman?
Yeah, both from Mater Dei, Santa Ana.
Same high school,
we need to keep those guys on the West. I'm not over here saying Arizona needs to get him. Xavier Brown, thanks, Cole. He is a monster. Why isn't USC? Why isn't Oregon? Why isn't these teams with big pocketbooks and NIL keeping these kids home? I don't get it, but
it's a shame.
But it's a story as old as time in the last. Well, it's not as old as time. It's the last 10, 15 years. How many West Coast kids are going over there, balling out, putting on for the SEC and when they should be at USC, Oregon, or Stanford, or something like that. So
yeah, I mean that's what it used to be. A lot of schools have figured out that the skill players out west are elite, and we named them a couple like last week, just off the top of our head. Yeah. We will do maybe a summer episode when things are slow. The best players from the West Coast to go to non-West Coast colleges. We understand. I think we're both on the same page. We understand when quarterbacks do it because there's only one quarterback, and there's the best quarterbacks are on the West Coast. I mean, look at all the schools, but it's a shame. It hurts. But I believe the trend is in our favor. And it's podcasts like this. We're for the people. We're going to be the ones that really help.
It's media members like us who are going to drive change. That's right. I agree.
Yeah. We're non-traditional media. We need, more of us.
Yeah. Yeah. My host is wearing sunglasses on his hat.
Yeah. I got hate for wearing my sunglasses.
Shout out Pam. Shout out Pam. Loyal
Pam, I'm
listener.
not mad at you. I'm not mad at you, Pam. Appreciate you listening. I just figured no one's actually ever worn the sunglasses on top of their hat during a podcast, so I'm one of one.
Have you ever thought there's a reason for that?
What are you trying to tell me?
I mean, it kind of looks douchey.
Really?
Yeah, it looks like you just got home from a men's league softball game.
Dude, it is. I mean, we were just talking about the pods. I felt like it fits.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. Well, yeah, it was a good week of football. As I look at it this week, I'm not like super stoked on the line. Cole mentioned it, right? There's only one ranked matchup, I think, the whole weekend. And that's the 10 a.m. Mountain Time, Missouri at A&M.
A&M won't be ranked at the end of the year.
No way. Yeah. So kind of a weird game. We're getting into conference play, so it doesn't have a lot of like favorable matchups. What I do predict, though, is we'll see a lot of upsets. A lot of upsets. There's commonality with these conference teams, and they play together. And maybe I'll even rephrase. There'll be some upsets, but there'll be a lot of underdogs who cover at least. Because there's some pretty big spreads out there that we'll get into during the free money plays of the week. So anyway, but that's kind of looking at, what do you see this weekend that you like? Any games you're keeping
real quick?
Yeah,
real quick. I just looked this up. The two starting corners from Oregon. Where do you think they're from?
Texas.
One's from DeSoto, Texas. Yeah. Where do you think the other one's from?
Florida.
Right part of the country. He's from Kansas City, Missouri. Or no, not right. I thought he was from Alabama. I know geography. He's not. He's from the Midwest. He's from KC. So, to your point, USC, one of their starting quarterbacks from Scottsdale. So that's – or Hamilton maybe. He might be Chandler. But anyway.
Who?
19.
Okay.
Starting quarterback for USC.
That USC team has ransacked Phoenix recruiting, though. That Elijah Page guy is from Phoenix. Ja'Cory Lane is from Phoenix. That corner that you just mentioned, they've recruited Phoenix very well, which I don't like. Yeah. Kid from Chaparral.
Yeah, Lucas. And then did you mention the wide receiver from Pinnacle?
Ja'Cory.
No.
Ja'Cory Lane?
Number 2.
Oh. Really?
The tight end. Yeah, he went to Pinnacle with Elijah Payne.
Yeah. Deuce Lane?
Yeah, Deuce.
Or not Deuce Lane. Deuce. That's a Zona. Deuce Robinson. Yeah. Also a MLB prospect baseball player, fun fact.
Nasty.
I think he played on like the 18U Olympic team or something.
Yeah.
Nasty athlete. We can't be having that, but at least they're staying on the West Coast. If there's a silver lining.
Agreed. Well, should we get into our locks? Is that the next step, or is there anything else you wanted to recap?
I'm good with recap. And anything else you were looking forward to this weekend for game wise?
I'm looking forward to Arizona and how we stack up against Tech. That's certainly on the agenda. Tech, they beat ASU. They've scored a lot of points. I hope we just play the aggressiveness. I know Dwayne historically plays different offenses like differently. Mm-hmm. And I get that, right? Like I'm cool with that, but also like I just hope it stays aggressive on defense because they don't have a defense either. So we should be able to score. And I mean, shout out Burnett. Like you mentioned this, but I think we should spend maybe a moment. Like there's a lot of people that have said that he's a superstar and we haven't seen it. He scored his first touchdown last game, but the dude is a freak.
I know. Yeah. His hands, he's got, I mean, I think we've always thought like T-Mac has the best hands on the team. Burnett might be competing for that. Like some of his catches he's making on the sidelines the last couple of weeks are incredible.
It wasn't even his best one, in my opinion.
Which one? Tell the people. I know
it was that like 10-yard dig in the middle, and Fafita like stepped up in the pocket, threw a dart as Burnett's falling down to the ground, catches it in his chest, does not tuck it or try to tuck it, just takes it straight to the ground. For your hands to be able to be stronger than the ground, like everyone always, the ball always moves. It didn't move. I've never seen that in college, like some NFL, but like he literally was like, yeah, no. And the ball didn't move. He's very casual. Like he knows his hands are massive.
Do you remember what drive that was as well?
That was the touchdown he caught. That was
yeah.
That crowd was rocking.
I was about to say the exact words. That crowd was rocking. And Fafita had poise in the pocket, stepped up. It was a great play by him. And Keenan had no fear. He had absolutely no fear. Dongan, baby. Come on. Dongan. Let's go. But yeah.
I'll get no Fifis tatted on my ass if we make the playoff. Maybe on my forehead.
Clip that. Cool.
Not on my forehead.
No. Stick to the ass. Stick to the ass.
Ass. No Fefe? Fifi?
Fefe, Fifi.
I should know how to say it if it's going to be on my ass. We have lots of respect, though.
We have time, but clip that, Cole, because if that happens, I'm flying to Phoenix and taking you to a tattoo parlor because that you're doing it.
Yeah.
You're doing it.
We got to make the playoffs, but I believe. So I'm excited about that.
There's a lot of bad games. I want to stay on this Texas Tech game real quick because I haven't watched a whole lot of Texas Tech. I know they're 4-1. Their only loss is the Wazoo on the road, I think it was.
Yeah.
They kind of scare me from an offensive perspective because they do put up points. I'm hoping Dwayne schemes them like he did last year when we played, or like he schemed Washington last year, where it's like we're going to put one safety 30 yards back, and we're going to man you up. If you remember that Washington game, that's a team that likes to throw deep, throw all the time, and we really limited them and played them really well from a defensive perspective. So I hope he kind of schemes them that way. And then our offense, I just hope that Matt Atkins doesn't get complacent or kind of stale with his play calling and just keeps things dynamic. Like this last week against Utah, my favorite play of the game, one of my favorite plays of the game was the second play of the game. We ran that play action little dump to the tight end in the flat. It was so simple. No one was around Burnett. He got 12 yards or whatever it is. And like that type of stuff, it doesn't have to be that complex. Just get the ball in your playmaker's hands in space. So, I think that'll be key. And I'm looking forward to the game. I'm not looking forward to the time of the game, though. Yeah. 9 my time, Mountain? What are we doing? So,
yeah, I'll be at a charity gala on Saturday watching on my phone.
The gala's going to be going that late? I mean,
it's a Ronald McDonald House of Phoenix gala. The dance party on the agenda starts at 9:30. I think me and the wife might Irish goodbye at that point. Yeah,
you do.
But it'll be interesting. I was not to harp on Zona too much, but like I loved that play in the flat. That was on the first drive to Burnett. We didn't run that play again.
I get where you're going with that. There could have been a little bit more like redundant. Like we could have been a little bit more redundant with some of the looks we were getting because we scored 23 points. Probably could have scored 35 to 40 if we had, to your point. Yeah.
After Genesis's pick, we got held to a field goal. I mean, I know their defense is good, and that's why it's like 23 points against Utah on the road, I think is good. Like, if you lose 27-23, I think we'd be sitting here being like bummed. We'd be like, hey, that was a lot better than we thought it would be, right? But like, we're playing an elite defense. I still think their defense is elite. They have Utah isms to them that they just like I think everyone always thinks they're going to get over, but they like their scheme is very dependent on a guy like Rising. Like, but they have only had one Rising in the last. I know the kid who played for the Dolphins this weekend was from Utah. That was a good year though, right? Like, but they've had trash quarterbacks. They don't have a good backup. So they're very dependent on Rising for that whole offense. I mean, we did get a little bit lucky that Wilson's hot garbage.
Yep. But aside for the Tech game, the next 3 weeks for Arizona are really, really fun. Texas Tech at BYU, day game on Fox, going to be electric. And then you and I will be watching together for the CU game here in 2.5 weeks now. Homecoming. Our cousin's flying in from Georgia, absolute rider. He didn't even go to Arizona. We don't like to spread this too wide, but he is a UW guy. So that's probably our least favorite thing about him currently. Also Cole's cousin. So shout out just that side of the family. A lot of cousin love.
Alabama fans that are tuning in, we told you cousin love would be here. So
we have promised, we have delivered on that promise. Absolutely,
yeah, we have.
So.
I do think this weekend, and not to be negative, there's a lot of like really bad in-conference games, like games that don't excite me. It does, to your point, there's probably some good opportunities there from a gambling perspective, but from like a sit down and watch games, like if you have to pick, this is an apple picking weekend. If you're married with kids and you
pumpkin patch,
pumpkin patch, go ride the little train, go get a little, go get some rides in, go get the sack races on. Perfect weekend. Go find a local farm, because in the one ranked game you said is it what, like 9 a.m. Pacific, 10 Mountain? Like, bro, after nap time, go rip a pumpkin patch.
Are you gonna rip a pumpkin patch?
No, we're going to that gala.
What time does it start?
5. Yeah, I guess we could do morning.
Go take your children. Do you not love your children?
They nap from 12 to 2.
You can't go to the pumpkin patch at 9:30 in the morning?
No, we could. I was more so talking. I was hyping the people up. I mean, that's when the one rank game is. So,
I mean, that game's gonna be garbage.
Yeah, you're right. But action.
Yeah, I mean, I understand the action.
Maybe go to a pumpkin patch. How's your?
Go ahead, please.
I was just gonna stay on Halloween. All my neighbors have their Halloween shit out already. It's wild.
I have absolutely nothing. Pumpkin. The wife put one pumpkin. I take that back.
The wife got in a conversation with the neighbor outside yesterday, October 1st, and the guy was like, "Gotta do it. It's October 1st." He's like, "I'm behind. There's a lot of other neighbors." Like, that's the type of neighborhood we're in.
Let's put Cole on the spot. Hey, Cole, what are you gonna dress up for at Halloween?
I usually go with Groot from Guardians of the Galaxy.
How many years in a row? How many years in a row have you done Groot?
Well, I haven't dressed up in years, but
how many years in a row have you dressed up as Groot?
Consistently, it was probably like whenever the first movie came out, which was like 2015. So
it's 9 years, my guy.
9 years.
Yeah, but I haven't dressed up in like 7 years. So let's relax, fellas.
Dude, that movie.
You should have led with you're not going to dress if you haven't dressed in 7 years. You had a costume pretty quick for a guy who doesn't.
Yeah, you knew your answer.
I don't even have it here. I did not bring it with me when I moved. So.
Hey, Julie, I know you're listening. Cole's mom, send him his outfit.
Number 77. Shout out.
What up, 77?
77. That's a good one. Hey, just Julie, send him the outfit.
I'll wear it. I'll bring it back.
You better.
I am Groot. I'll bring it back.
Hey, 7. What are you gonna dress up as for Halloween?
We've thrown out some ideas. We were thinking about buying caddy outfits and putting the name of our kids. We got 2 kids, so on one of our back, and then dress the boys up as golfers, and then use their little golf bags as like their trick or treat stuff.
Ooh, that's pretty good.
Or a cooler for my beer.
True.
So elite move as an adult. I didn't really think about trick or treating with your kids. We did it last year. I didn't have a kid last year, but we went with our friends trick or treating.
We should talk about that.
But yeah, no, we went trick or treating with our friends, and we were drinking drinks and hanging out, walking around the neighborhood. I got some candy, and people had stations outside with drinks. Yeah, why wouldn't I get candy if I was out?
You act like that's a good thing. You're a grown man with no kids. You're like, I knocked. They let me knock a couple times.
No, I didn't knock. The kids would run up, and then I would steal it from their bag. All these kids have allergies nowadays, so they're like, I can't have this one, this one, this one. So I would take them.
It's a convenient story. Yeah. It's very convenient.
No, and then in the neighborhood we were in, a lot of the neighbors had like drink stations for the adults. It was epic.
I did that here.
It's a good move.
I have a lot of neighbors who don't drink per religious obligation, right. So it was good to filter out like people in the neighborhood that I could, crack a cold one with.
So was your move for I got you. Was your move for the drink like a can, or did you have like kind of a goblin kind of like, pouring?
Yeah, didn't do the goblin thing. It was just a bowl. The boys last year were like, We did a little trick or treating. Our oldest was just turned 3 at the time. He got like 3 houses in, and he was like, "I'm good." And we're like, "All right, cool." And then our youngest
That kid rules.
Yeah, it was awesome. So we set up we just posted up in the driveway. I got this projector, put up the old Xbox, had the Monday, I think it was Monday night, or no, Thursday night. It was a Thursday night, I think, last year. Put the Thursday night game on the projector in the driveway, and then had a station on a folding table, one for candy, and then dad joke, I was saying that's the adult candy. And it was the booze punch bowl with cups.
What was the booze in there?
I made some like Fireball, Halloween, Etsy recipe, or not Etsy, Pinterest recipe.
Yeah.
It's pretty fire, really sugary. Yeah. Little headache in the morning, even having a couple.
Yeah.
Or 5. But yeah. 10. Yeah, it was elite. So the oldest this year is going to be very much another pro tip. And I haven't done this because I think this will be the first year we get a little bit of stamina. Wagons. If you're not going with a wagon, you're doing it wrong, because you can just throw all your crap in there. Kid can sit in there when he gets tired. Need to figure out a mounting situation for the phone if it does fall onto a game night.
Yeah. Well, no one asked me, but my wife says we're doing Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce, and then our newborn will be football. It feels played. It feels played. Yeah, it feels played. I might have to go buy.
That's what we're doing here,
dude. You're gonna buy a Travis Kelce jersey?
What am I gonna wear? A t-shirt? I mean, I guess you could get a t-shirt, but like,
dude, red t-shirt and some athletic tape. 8-7.
What if you get a Jason Kelce jersey?
Oh, we could be Jason and what's her face?
Dude,
they're way cooler.
Jason's wife is also way hotter than Taylor Swift. Taylor Swift is a 6.
Wow, hot take. I'd bump her up.
6'5", 6'9". Here, we'll go 6.9.
Nice.
I was gonna go 7.5.
No,
she's got great legs. That's what everyone talks about. Her legs are great. So,
seen better.
She's also the most famous person in the world, which has got to knock
status
her up,
means to you. Oh, so you don't you care about like outward, like success, fame, that type of thing matters.
Success is pretty attractive.
I just look at the person. Yeah,
I
look at the whole body of work. Like her, like I don't think she's a good person. I think she's
a Phillies fan. That's what you don't like.
No, that's pretty low on the list. I think she looks like, and I know this is an appeal, but like we went to high school with like 75 of those. Like it's the same thing. She's what's special about her?
She sings well. She could serenade you if you were in a relationship with her.
Her song, yeah, whatever.
Ooh,
I wish her, yeah, scared Captain. I do wish she did more country. I don't like her new stuff. But all right, that was our Halloween rant of the day. Cole, we'll see you. Hey, can we get to the free money plays? Can we get to the free money plays of the week? I'm excited to talk about this.
Put that money, dude. That's freaking printed money, dude.
Free money plays of the week brought to you by who's our sponsor this week?
Oh, our sponsor, it's a oldie but goodie, but it's Toys R Us. Toys R Us has been giving us a lot of toys. Mentioned we have young kids. They're a great sponsor. They are for the people, for the kids specifically. We're a pro kids podcast, and Toys R Us allows us to really articulate that in our best self. Anyone who goes undefeated out of 10 picks this week, it's a free stuffed animal. You have to send me your bet slip, a screenshot on Twitter at jsny_CBK_7 of your perfect bet slip on 10 of your picks. You don't have to go 10 for 10, but you just have to win, 10 picks, and I will send you a stuffed animal to your house. Cole will coordinate the address and work with your people, work with my people, that type of thing. But no, I got some good plays, man. I wrote down 6, and I know we're only supposed to do 3. Do you want me to start? Do you want to
You
start?
can
Do you want
start.
to recap last week's picks?
I mean, we've started to track our picks in the last 2 weeks. Really, I'm 5-1, which feels pretty good. Last week, I only missed on our Arizona Wildcats, and that was probably just an emotional hedge that I didn't think we were very good, so I took Utah. But I did cover on Iowa State -14 against Houston, and then Rutgers -2 against UW on Friday night. So went 2-1 last week. What about you? How'd you fare?
I don't know my season record since we've tracked. It's not 5-1. Not you're just better than me. But I was Rutgers -2, started off the week correctly, and then -11 Utah hurt. I still don't think A&M's very good. I had Arkansas money line as my third pick. It was a close game at A&M. Arkansas is also I think average. I think there was 2 average to below average SEC teams, but those were my losses. So I was 1-2 on the week.
Not great. So
not great.
Better. So give me the Better of the Week award, Certified Ball Knower of the Week award. We'll work on that language, but yeah, you guys get it. Let me just start out with my first pick. Let's go back and forth. My first pick of the week is Oregon State -12 at home against Colorado State. I've watched more Colorado State than I have Oregon State. I don't think Colorado State's very good. I know that's a lot of points, but a home game, a classic Pac-12 game, by the way, as well, as these conferences merge. But yeah, I think Oregon State just takes care of business and wins by 2 touchdowns.
I like it. I'm going staying on the West Coast. I hate to do it, but I just wanted to rip the Band-Aid off. ASU -2.5 at home against Kansas. Kansas is not good. I think ASU is actually pretty well coached.
They're solid.
Yeah. At home against a bad K-State team, I love 2.5. I love this whole board, actually. I hated it first. Now I love it.
Yeah.
Don't we share a pick? No, wait. We didn't talk about these.
We didn't talk about these.
Yeah.
This
Go
is
ahead.
Real time twinning.
All right. Alternate.
My second one is TCU -16 at home against Houston.
You're going Friday night.
I'm going Friday night. I also think Houston is the worst Power 4 team in America. They are 1-4 this year. Their only win is against Rice. They weirdly played Oklahoma close this year, but they got blown out against UNLV 27-7, blown out at Cincinnati 34-0. And then just lost this past weekend 20-0. I think I've bet on all 3 of their big losses this year. I think they're terrible, and their spreads are huge, but I can't stay away. Prove to me, Houston, you can cover against a solid team. And Oklahoma, you covered, but they're fraudulent. So
that was also pre-quarterback at OU because they found their QB.
Jackson
what was that line?
Now, I got it at 16. I bet that yesterday, so I got it at 16. Wow. I don't know what the current line is, but
I love the Tuesday bets out of you, 9.
I'm addicted to the grind. I'm a ball knower. And it's what I do at work when I have some free time. I just go scroll DraftKings. So that's my second pick. That's my second pick of the week.
So my second pick is another hammer. This is a 3-unit play in my mind. Free money, not free money. Ohio State -20 against Iowa. I've never seen anything I like more than that. I've seen this game for 2 decades. I don't care how good Iowa's running attack, which it's mid compared to the rest of how they've been over 20 years. Ohio State's going to beat them 45-10. I've seen it. It's going to be 45-10. Iowa's last touchdown is going to come, or only touchdown is going to come in the late fourth quarter. Their field goal will come in the first quarter. It's going to be 17-3 or 14-3. That I've seen it. Just clip this. I've seen it.
I laugh because I've seen it as well, and I think you're spot on, and it's very possible that it happens. I just wrote that one down. I didn't have that one on my list, so I'm gonna hammer that one as well.
I'm trying to trust myself with the more things change, the more they stay the same. I
like that.
Just don't think about it. 12:30 at Ohio State. Oh my gosh, 45-10.
I got a good buddy.
7-3 going in.
I got a good buddy at work, Stacy. Shout out Stacy. Huge Iowa fan. Yeah, dude, great guy. We talked about this game. He was kind of saying similar things of like, this always happens, man. We always get blown out against Ohio State. So I like that. I like that play out of you. And my third and final, twinning ASU -2 versus Kansas. Kansas fraudulent. Everything you said, agree with. It also seems like a team that's going to kind of like you're going to start to see players from KU get hurt or redshirt or hit into the transfer portal because they are not hitting kind of their expectation. Remember, Kansas was one of those kind of like, oh, that's a fun pick for Big 12, the champs. They're not very good, and I think the thing with ASU, again, ASU hate podcast. They're super well coached and they do play like as a unit. Like, I don't like to give that type of credit, but I think they play as a unit, and I think they just kind of control this whole game from start to finish.
Yeah, I agree.
So.
I'm staying out west for my last pick. West Coast in terms of where it's being played. UNLV is hosting Syracuse. UNLV 6.5 at home against Syracuse. I've seen Syracuse play average. I think UNLV is good. I think that is just a conference line. I think if UNLV was in the Big 12 or any Power 4 conference, that'd be double-digit more. So why not take the 4 points if I believe that? So riding with UNLV.
Is it 4? I thought it was 6.5.
Six. I was saying the 4-point delta between a 10-point spread and the 6.5.
Oh. Okay.
Sorry. Stay with me. My mind works differently than yours.
Just at an elite level. We all know this. Yeah. So I disagree with you because you said Syracuse is mid. I actually think they're kind of dangerous, and I don't like this game.
Really?
But I think, but are you just leaning on your don't overthink it? UNLV puts up a lot of points. They're at home. They're going to take care of business.
So why do you think they're pretty good?
I mean, they got that Ohio State quarterback that isn't terrible, that McCord kid or whatever he transferred in. I haven't watched him a lot, quite honestly, but they have won some big games. They won some big games.
So they played Ohio and won by 16 at home. Okay. They beat Georgia Tech by 3. Georgia Tech, we learned, just beat a really bad Florida State team. They're not good.
And they lost to Stanford.
Lost to Stanford, and then they beat Holy Cross. There's not one big game in there.
Okay,
I watched the whole Stanford game, and
this was not a CBK moment of me. I'm riding with you. I love this bet now.
Stanford's pretty well coached, not a lot of talent. Like, I actually like their coach. I like his scheme, the way he tries to approach it. They're not very good.
Yeah. No, I like it.
Yeah. That's the best
team. The
The
transitive property in college football as we get into these weeks are tough, though.
Sure.
Right? Like, I think they're
non-conference.
Yeah. Weirdly placed non-conference game, by the way.
Yeah.
Week 6?
Week 6 is super weird.
Yeah. All right. Let me rattle off a couple other ones that I liked. Okay.
All right.
I love Indiana -14 at Northwestern. I like Mizzou money line. I like Michigan money line. They're somehow underdogs against Washington. On the road, okay, whatever. But I don't know, man. That one I like. And then here's what I've been doing lately. USC gets down in the first half. You take the live points at half. They've covered 2 weeks in a row with that. I actually did money line last week against Wisconsin because they were down 2 touchdowns. And I got USC plus 220 or something like that. Hit that. So I like betting USC at half when they're down.
Yeah. Yeah. I was going to say something that I'm not going to say, but yeah.
USC's weird. Now you have to say it.
Yeah, no, I'm not going to say it.
Okay.
It's an offline comment. It doesn't go on the internet. That's what I'm holding true to.
That's fair.
Couple other games I like. Clemson 14.5 favorites at FSU. FSU's just bad. And I know I lost when Cal was favored, but Clemson showed that they can beat the crap out of an average team this weekend. They seem to have found a little something. I'm not a Clemson believer, but like Florida State's still bad. Like Florida State, I mean, who'd they lose to? They got the shit kicked out of them this weekend. I mean, absolutely demolished by who was it? By SMU. They lost by
not very good.
Yeah. So
Not very good.
14 points. Clemson, I like. The other one I love, I actually really love this one. Love this board. South Carolina is getting 9 points at home against Ole Miss. We didn't talk about it. Ole Miss lost at home against Kentucky. It was a similar game to like Arizona going in and beating Utah, honestly. Do they bounce back? Maybe, but South Carolina, they've showed glimpses of being like solid. 9's just a lot at home. That crowd's gonna be rocking. I can already see that whole like pom-pom shit that they do. They'll have like a kickoff return or some like weird, thing. And then I know the Cal Bears, shout out the West Coast. This is a West Coast podcast. Cal Bears are getting college game day for the first time ever.
Electric.
They're hosting Miami. It is electric. Let's not act like this is still going to fill the stadium. It's still Berkeley. So we're going to go from like 6,000 student or like people there to like 15. Miami's 10-point favorites. Give Miami all day.
Yeah.
They're going to try and beat the shit out of them in prime time and prove that last game wasn't the ACC commissioner calling it. So those are my 6 picks. I love all of them. They're all hammers, which is scary, but I like it.
Time to deposit more money is what it sounds like. Well, that's the free money plays of the week. As I was looking at the schedule, one thing, a little shot at Arizona. 2 straight weeks will be on Fox broadcast.
I like it.
I like that as well. It's nice to be in a conference where your games are played on an actual network. It is quite refreshing.
Not casting from an iPad.
Well, and that Colorado-Arizona game in 3 weeks doesn't have a network yet on it, but if both teams take care of business the next couple of weeks, we could have a game day situation, and we could be on ABC or something. So, anyway, pretty exciting. We haven't had a lot of that. You called that. 7 called it. You did forget about we have to play BYU.
But I didn't call anything. I'm the one who put that tickler out there. I just want credit if it does hit. If it doesn't, then it's your idea. But
okay, I like how that dynamic there.
Yeah,
love it. All right, free money plays of the week. Do we want to hit our Larry Scott's?
Our Scots of the week.
Our Scots of the week.
Let's go to our Scots of the week. Yeah, Scots of the week. We're already going a little long, so we won't go over last week's too long, but we hit them. I said USC was Larry Scott team of the week. They still struggle with Wisconsin. I still feel good about that. They're not a playoff team. My fun team of the week was who was it?
It's up here on the screen now.
BYU. BYU takes care of business at home. Longest punt return in BYU history. I like that. And then Iowa State took care of business, so I like mine. You were right about Kansas. Colorado went out and whooped ass, and Tennessee had a bye. That's a rest up week for an elite team. So nice work. My Larry Scott team of the week, just starting that direction, is Ole Miss. The more things change, the more they say the same. Everyone was hyping them. They got a D-line. They hit the portal. Look at all these dudes they got. They got the trenches now, along with Lane Kiffin's offense. This is a playoff team. What does Kentucky do? They go in and just hold them to 16 points or whatever, and just prove that Ole Miss still is Ole Miss, and they're going to be 9-3, maybe, but they're not that upper echelon still. They're dead. Like they're not the playoff team. They're dead. They're the same thing they have been. My team of the week, team is fun. Michael Scott is Colorado. I was down on them previous weeks, but they've turned it around, man. They've turned it around. And then this is the twinning factor, as you can see on the screen here. For all the listeners, 9 and I have the same Travis Scott elite team of the week, being the UNLV Rebels. They lost their starting quarterback. He said, you know what? I was supposed to get $100,000. I'm going to leave in the middle of the season, 3 games in, whatever. and they go out and just cover 2. That was the easiest spread. Also, 2 points.
Yep.
So, what was you were saying? You read something about the quarterback leaving?
Yeah, I read that there was some casino mogul or leader, whatever, rich guy in Vegas who was like, "We'll pay this quarterback that 100K he was promised to keep him around." And it sounded like the staff said, "Nope, bridges are burned. We're okay. We like the other guy." And what that other guy do? Put up 50 plus on a Fresno State team that has been competitive in the Mountain West, very competitive in the last couple of years, and just boat raced them. So yeah, I like UNLV. They're my team is elite. I'll go backwards here. My team is that's fun. Arizona Wildcats had to do it. Shout out to Zona. I've said that they are dead. I've said that they're the Larry Scott team of the week, so I got to redeem myself. Brent Brennan redeemed himself. I can as well. So I think they're a fun team again. And then the purple and gold team in the Pacific Northwest. I think they're dead. They lost the game against Rutgers. And it makes me so happy because all offseason we were talking together with 2-1. Cole and I have talked about this. He's going to regret it, and it's not going to work. And he's going to a tough situation. He didn't get all the players he thought, and it's fun to see it. It's fun to see it pan out. And the fact they're favored this weekend is just absolutely crazy. So, I love that Michigan bet. One last thing, and maybe we can clip this and put this on IG, but this might be a sneaky Arizona and UNLV podcast. I think we've talked about UNLV every single week, either in our fun, they're elite, we're betting on them. So this is to any UNLV listeners out there. Come check out our podcast. We love the Rebels over there in Vegas. They're a fun team, and we like to follow them. And I'm tuning in. Last week I didn't have the game. I couldn't watch the UNLV game on TV. It wasn't on TV. And then I found it. It was on Fox Deportes, and I watched it in Spanish.
Ball knower, dude. Dedication.
Yeah, it was awesome. And man, let me tell you, those Spanish speaking announcers are fun to watch. I had no idea what they were talking about. Man, their energy level is elite. So I had a little bit of fun. I was flipping back, different game. But Fox Sports Deportes, shout out. They had Fresno State UNLV. So I could watch it on my cable. So
dude, dedication to the craft. That's a real ball knower right there, dude.
Yeah.
Some fun stuff that we watched this past weekend. Some fun stuff going into the weekend. I think we should close out with a little shout out to our bros.
Gotta include the bros.
This one, if
brought
you watch,
by.
Yeah.
This segment's brought to you by Bros Clothes.
Yes.
Check out brosclothesltd.com. Get all your brogans. Get all your brogans on your shirts. Great company over there. Great partners doing a lot of cool things. Great shirts, very comfortable, soft material. So love what they're doing.
Yeah, their chief chat officer is something, but other than that, they're all pretty good.
They're all pretty good. It's a good group of guys over there. So, but who are our bros of the week, Seven? Who you want to shout out?
If anyone watched that Miami Virginia Tech game we referenced earlier, they pointed out to us, the beauty that is Virginia Tech football. They have 3 sets of brothers on the squad this year, all in getting minutes in some regard as a tandem. The Gosnell brothers, Benji and Steven, tight end, wideout. The Moore brothers are interior O linemen, and then the McDonald brothers on the defensive side of the field playing a little D end, and his twin brother Jaden plays linebacker. Jordan's the D end, Jaden's the linebacker. I mean, there are brothers like this is a Virginia Tech should be drawn to this brother thing that me and you have going on, because they were referencing the history of Virginia Tech football and the amount of brothers that have gone through the program. Maybe not all at the same time, but it's pretty damn cool. And they got 3 sets of brothers, but I was rooting for them. I was bummed about how that game turned out, but shout out the McDonald's, Moores, and Gosnells. I mean, that's pretty sick that there's 3 bros on the same squad lining up.
Yeah. 3 bros on the same squad. And then shout out to your point about Virginia Tech just being a culture of brotherhood. I looked this up during the game because they had mentioned it, so I was doing a little bit of digging. So obviously they had the Vic brothers. They have the Edmond brothers. And then they have the Fuller brothers, those DBs that are all still in the league. Hear this stat. More than 30 families who have sent multiple siblings to play football for Virginia Tech. 30 families have had brothers. There's 30 groups of brothers who have played at Virginia Tech.
That's so
maybe
sick.
not together, but at different times. As well as 26 fathers who have had one or more sons follow their path to go play at Virginia Tech. Just a culture of family down there. Pretty cool to learn that about Virginia Tech. And I'm still hopeful. I love Virginia Tech. I got a lot of buddies that went there. I'm still hopeful Virginia Tech will be one of those teams that finds its way to the Big 12. I think it fits the mold of the Big 12. I know there's a lot of drama about the ACC out there, so I hope they find their way. I think it'd be a lot of fun.
That would be fun. Well, Niner, signing off to the both of us. Yeah, it's a pleasure as always. Our fellow CBKs, thanks for
We'll catch you. Go Padres.
Go Pods. Oh, bear down. Go Pods.
Bear down.
Go Pods.
Padres.
Go
Free
Rebels.
money plays of the week are free. Brought to you by Toys R Us.